is I thought I would talk about the Grammys. So we're not going to listen to any music today. Sorry, guys. I don't want to pull too much from everything at once on my computer, but we're just going to have a quick discussion about the Grammys and the fact that the composer from Assassin's Creed won the very first Grammy in a category ever offered to composers of video games. And the young lady, as we see here, her name is Stephanie. Let me see. Here we go. Stephanie, I'm going to probably get this wrong. Economou, or or Economou. I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce it. Forgive me. Anyhow, I'm really excited for what's happening with the Grammys, and like I said, here on the Grammy channel, or there's a really nice video of her accepting it. So I'm kind of fanboying over the excitement that a new category at the Grammys were actually opened up so that composers of video games could get acknowledged for their works. Also because I'm very new at this whole journey with video games, I'm just barely making myself familiar with some of the composers that are contributing. And I know that there have been songs that have been nominated, if I'm correct. For those of you that are here, if there's been songs that have been nominated for Grammy, just let me know here in the comments, because once again, I don't know. This is not, like I said, I actually, as a composer of 40 years that did what I did for a living in my little nook of the composing world, I get to be a fanboy kind of thing, approach of this. I don't come at this with like, I've been no, I'm like going, oh my God, this is fantastic, because I have never really gave thought to, the industry of video games and composing as much as like, oh, an opportunity. Some of my stuff may have gotten licensed out A, B, or C. So it's really super exciting. But, what I decided to do is I watched this video at the Grammy Awards website. You're going to check that out if you guys want. I would play it here, but I'm trying not to tax my system at the moment. And, I went and I looked up the other composers here that were on the Grammy nominations here on IMDb. And to no surprise, because of how I feel about the composers' pieces of work, music in these videos, each one of these composers have an extremely powerful position in Hollywood as well. What I mean powerful is that their creds as composers go way beyond video games. Starting with Stephanie, her creds here are phenomenal, from TV series to credits as being a musician on in sessions and stuff for these compositions, but she has an absolutely wonderful list of creds here. Something that I found to be very super cool is that there's the additional music creds on IMDb. And there's unique, I don't spend a lot of time on IMDb, but I'm noticing that there's really unique different kinds of credits that you can get too as a music arranger, additional music, excuse me. And so, so no surprise there. And then I went to go check out Christopher Tin. Christopher Tin was also nominated for the Grammy. I said, okay, let's see Christopher Tin. And I'm going down and I'm looking and I'm like, okay, look at this incredible, deep, rich resume of creds, or, here that are just, I can go ahead. There's even a more button down at the bottom that I can go on and stuff. And I'm not familiar with the video game that he wrote on, which I think I should probably take a check on, yeah? Of course, Mr. Bear McCreary, I'm pretty familiar with as far as, is it Gods of Ragnarok? Forgive me, you know how I am about the names. Once again, a huge, tremendously successful composer with really big a couple of really super Lord of the Rings, for God's sakes, the Rings of Power. You know, it's like some of these video games that had money and stuff like this called in, some very, successful Hollywood composers. Ragnarok. Yes, thank you. I'm going to get it wrong, guys. Not only is it 7 o'clock in the morning here for me, but this is also my very first cup of coffee that I heated up from yesterday's coffee. So I'm going to be running on fumes for a little bit here. So thank you so much. Another incredibly talented and has been doing this for a very, very long time, which was Bear McCree. And then Austin Wintory, okay. I was very familiar with his name only recently because in my podcast with Marty McDonald, we talked about Austin, and Marty was just singing full-blown praises about Austin. But for me, my very first, how do I say this? Like, out of all the video games that I started listening to on this channel, when I got to Journey, for some reason, maybe it's where I'm at in my life or whatever as a listener and a composer, but the music for Journey for me was just like wonderful, epic for me. And I haven't played any games yet, so I don't know gameplay and stuff. So whatever cutscenes and stuff that I may have seen or whatever. And then I did a couple of breakdowns on some music. Just love that music. It was just unbelievable. But once again, I'm going through his IMDb page, and here's a composer that's tremendously successful. Excuse me. And has some serious creds. By no stretch of the imagination did any of these composers just show up and say, hey, I'm going to write for games. Let me do that, and I'm just going to go in that direction. They were obviously picked for their talents by these major software companies. And finally, the last composer on the list was Richard Jacques. And once again, his IMDb page is just huge. Just absolutely incredible. Not only for video games, but each one of these composers have creds on all mediums. And so these are seasoned veterans that are, being acknowledged at least on the list in the nomination for the Grammys. And that's just great. I'm pretty sure that, as everything kind of moves forward in the sense that, like, okay, they've released the Kraken. So now there is a section for the Grammys that are going to acknowledge composers for video games. And in of itself, there's probably going to be some conversations and some shifts on how it's done. I have a little familiarity with a new category in the Grammys because even though I'm not in the recording industry, but as a registered member of the arts, to be able to vote, and also living here in Hawaii, it took years before music from Hawaii, Hawaiian music, was validated by being accepted onto the Grammy platform to be able to win awards. And usually the first round of awards is that, like, okay, this is wonderful, this is great, but and I'm not too sure about this is where people are going to have to chime in, the voting body that does not necessarily have a basis by many, many years of being familiar with the fact that it's on the category may not be familiar with what they're voting for per se. These are new artists from Hawaii. Perhaps the voting body of the Grammys is looking at video games based on, this is video games and stuff, and I don't know much about video games, but for those who have and those who have voted, obviously this is how we get our winners. And I'm pretty sure now as the years move forward, we're probably going to see a very expanded representation of different video games from around the world. included, from composers around the world. And what I don't know is, and I'm not too sure about this, so I'm asking, is if people who get recognized and voted for Grammys are in one shape, form, or another part of the industry, the Hollywood industry. I don't know. I just have never been clear about any of that. But without getting into any kind of like what the future looks like, I just am just over the moon for each one of these composers, for being at the head of breaking through. And this is the year the Grammys acknowledged the composers of video games. This is the year that these 5 composers are now on the list. They're the first ones, which is, legacy making in of itself. Anyhow, I just wanted to bring this up, and just talk about it. I'm just totally so elated for Mrs. Economou, and if I'm saying it wrong. And, I just think it's fantastic. I think it's just incredible.